Was I supposed to smile?
Why is it cold there? You've got a vest on.
It sort of is. Actually, I just been wearing it so
I
it's
was
kind of comfortable, but yes, it has been a little cold
I was
today.
watching the Masters this weekend, the golf tournament, and they had
Yes.
all kinds of weather. It started out
Yep.
Thursday as hot and
Yeah.
humid, and then
Yep.
Friday it cooled off and a storm came through. Saturday they were playing in rain and had to cancel. Tonight it looked great.
Yeah. Well, what was that? Where's it at?
Augusta, Georgia.
Yeah. So yeah, it was warm and then it rained uh some Friday and then Saturday and the temperature changed a lot. So look, I was wearing the vest earlier in the day and it just got comfortable and I just never took it off. But we were sitting outside talking to the neighbors
Yeah.
and it was a little cool again. I was like, I need to put some shoes on. My feet started getting cold. So yeah, it's this weird temperature.
We're
With
getting
weather
into
rather.
the hot hots now. It's going to be in the 90s in the next couple of days.
Yeah, well, tomorrow, yeah, Monday the high is 63, then 70, 75. We start working our way back up. But yeah, it's weird.
Happy Easter, Craig.
Same to you. Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Let's see, Technorama show notes. No, I don't want show notes. Why doesn't the back anyway? Facebook, Chrome. You gotta love them.
Do you?
You have no choice. You have to love them. It's like the cable company.
I've actually been using Microsoft Edge.
Oh, he's living on the edge. We're living on the edge.
Well, I started using it at work because honestly, they added a bunch of shortcuts and integrations with Office 365, which that's what we use at work. I'm like, so I don't know. I'm not. I mean, what can you do? I started using it. I was like, I actually kind of like it because it has all those tie-ins. So, yeah.
I had to turn on the cooling for the studio tonight. It was warm in here.
after
It's
you
that
see
time of
me,
year.
and then you see me show up with a vest on.
It happens.
Yeah.
What do we got? Like 34 days till our conference?
Yeah,
34.
that's about right. Yep.
And a few hours.
Yeah.
Yikes. You planning on coming to Phoenix?
I want to, but I mean, we can talk offline a little bit about details, but I want to make sure I'm not stepping on anybody's toes or y'all's plans or anything.
No.
I don't know.
Actually, Don is thinking about going up to Vegas on Friday with Lisa and Granta. So we can have a blowout party Friday night and then head up there Saturday.
No. Oh.
This is working to our advantage. Hey, Scott Tyler recommended that.
Thanks, Scott. You're all right.
See if Brian or anyone else wants to.
I take back everything I've said about you.
Do you know how much dudes in their late 50s aren't having a blowout party? It's gonna be sitting around watching Monty Python, and
it'd be like you'll have 3 good drinks, and then it'd be like, oh, it was great.
3?
All right, yeah, maybe.
Wow,
Hey, that's a blowout. You go. Oh,
I gotta drive at 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's all right. We're in the bed by 10. Yeah,
10. Wow, you're a late bird. You're a midnight owl.
Well, wait a minute. What time do you usually go to bed?
Normally about between 9 and 10.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm up at 5.
Well, I'll get up at 5, but I go to bed about 11.
I've got a couple of 6:30 a.m. recordings to do for our conference. They're doing some of these things digitally, and I got a couple of East Coasties. Everybody wanted to wait. There's 2 weeks, last week and this week, and everybody waited till this week. I had about 4 recordings last week, and I've got about 12 this week.
Oh, well, I see a bunch of people. I'd actually forgotten about the people making the recordings because I've had some people with issues or they had some weird requests. Now we're talking about user conference.
Wait
a minute. So our user conference comprises of a lot of training classes and workshops. So people ask me, because it's my part, not just me, but my team, for I need this for my lab. I need this for my lab, or I need that for my lab, or we're having an issue with our lab. So we're working through all these, and I actually forgot about the recordings because they'll do video recordings as part of the
As a
documentation
digital
for the land.
experience. No, no,
Yeah.
documentation. It's digital experience.
Right,
So
right.
people who can't make it to the
Right.
conference can still get something out of it.
Yeah. So I actually forgotten about that, and I heard a lot of people talking about it. It's like, oh, how can I do my recording? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? I don't know. So
There's
yeah.
been a lot of work with the product teams the last couple of
It-
weeks.
Well, not just and not just all that, but see, we just had a new version of our platform go
A
out
major version.
about 3 weeks ago, and
Well, that was general availability. It's been in early availability for over 2 months.
I want to say,
February 2nd.
well, see, I don't. Yeah, you're right. You're right. No, you're right.
And
So,
we spotted problems and recommended to the problem team to
yeah.
get them fixed. And general availability came out. They still weren't fixed.
Oh yeah, there's some other things that are still.
Some of these are nasty going out of the. Hey, it's software. It's software, right?
Well, the thing about it is for me, I download it, I make this new image, and so people can spin it up and use it. Well, the problem is, I have to reverse engineer some of these issues because I'm like, well, I got to find who to talk to, or I got to figure it out on our own. Or when I say me, I'm talking about our team.
Yeah.
So our team's working to figure out what's the actual problem, and well, we're starting to get a clearer picture of that. And then all of a sudden, hey, here's another version you can try of our platform that just came out. I'm like, okay, so let's try that. It's
Let's do something more fun. Let's make a Technorama episode.
well, I did tell my wife we're coming up here to record some more podcast excellence. So let's do that.
Why do you lie to your wife like that?
Hey, it's one of those. Remember that meme that was going around? What I think I do, what people think I do, what I actually do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, then let's put away the pre-show banner and move on. Mike Robinson had a comment in there about time to break out the solar oven. It is getting warm.
Yeah.
Actually, I went for about a 40-minute walk and went, wow, I can feel the sunburn kicking in.
You need some, I don't know what you're wearing, but you need some like running gear so it's a little lighter to go out for a walk like that.
Yeah, lighter than a t-shirt.
Yes. Yes, I got some. I got some.
And I have solar covered shirts. We use them when we go snorkeling and whatnot. All right, let's begin.
Oh, yeah.
Where's
Mhm.
my record button? Over here. In 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 708 for April 12th, 2023. New iPhone. Who dis? Hey, welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science.
Ah,
Wow, thought we were going into new territory with this show. Maybe that'll boost the ratings. And
yeah.
all things geek.
And you can slowly watch Chuck lose it as you watch the show.
It's like taking a mechanical watch apart. It ain't going
Right.
back together. I'm Chuck Tomasi from Phoenix, Arizona.
Are you
You can
sure?
put on whatever prefixes you want on that. Yes, I look outside. I see Phoenix. Yep, that's where I am.
All right.
And right over there is longtime co-host Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Actually today was nice. It rained all day yesterday and a little bit the day before. And today, on Easter, the weather really broke and it was nice. It was really nice this afternoon.
Now you
So I say nice, but it was cool, but it was nice. It was nice. It's nice.
have
I had
fun
the
cutting the
window.
grass.
I know. Actually, we have a yard guy, and he came and seeded it at the end of fall or something
Seeded
like
it.
that.
Don't you have grass already?
No, my grass was thin. It was not very nice.
Just
And
like
so
your hair. Does he seed hair too?
I wish he did because my grass looks fantastic now. It's like a shag carpet out there.
And
It's
now
great.
you got to go cut it.
Yes, I know.
Not missing it.
I know. What do you got? Oh, you got a bunch of rocks in your
Rocks.
yard.
I don't have to cut the rocks or shovel the heat. That's right.
I tell everybody that your yard looks like one of those Zen gardens where they take the rake and they
Sometimes I do.
You should. Yeah.
All right, enough of the chit chat. Should we get into the question of the week?
Yes. Let's do it.
All right, let's open up those letters.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Someone didn't share.
Mailman, mailman.
Oh,
mail
yeah.
today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters. I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy.
Mailman. Mail today.
You know what? I'll tell you why I didn't share. You want to know why I didn't share?
Because all your friends are the same as the Technorama podcast list?
No, I didn't share it because I went to it this morning and I was like, okay, I didn't share it. I went to go share it.
Yeah.
And the Facebook or the mobile app will not let me share it as myself.
I noticed that too. The mobile app
Yeah.
is stupid that way. I
Yeah.
had to do it from the desktop.
So I was like, okay, fine. I didn't have my laptop with me. All I was trying to do is I was like, share. And I tried for like 5 minutes. I was like, it's not that important. You know. So I passed on it.
The podcast is not that important, he says.
No, sharing it. I was getting aggravated because it's just a lot of time. Come on.
Yeah, try and work your way out of that one. All right, our question of the week last week was, what's the first sign that a movie is going to be bad?
I think it was almost unanimous, wasn't it?
Mark Kilfoyle says, when the trailer shows you so little, as if to
Mhm.
be afraid to demonstrate how bad the movie is going to be. There are exceptions, but they are rare.
Right. Yeah.
He also came back and said, when it becomes clear that the big star, in air quotes,
Yeah.
the movie is advertised with really only has a walk-on part or worse, a voiceover, one clue, featuring actor X.
What movie was that? Recently I was thinking, okay, I know what it was. Well, we were watching Picard. Remember Moriarty? We thought he was gonna have a
Yeah!
huge part, and he was like on there for
Because he was
was
in
on
the
there for a
trailer.
cut.
He
it
was
was a
in there
long
for
scene, but that was
2
it.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, they featured him in the trailer, but that he only had like
that was
what,
disappointing.
10 minutes of screen time. I was like,
I thought maybe he'd get
come
wrapped
on.
up into Data's ecosystem.
Yeah. Well, Mike Robeson says,
Isn't it
when
Robinson?
I'm Z Robinson, excuse me. When and the
Years later, after he's
I know.
corrected us.
Hey, well, we still love him. When in the very first scene, when they don't bother to edit out the launch board for the stunt guy. What? Oh, Highlander 2. Okay,
tinkering.
I remember that title. Anyway, except for about 2 to 4 movies, if it's starring Michael Peries or Will Ferrell or Jack Black or Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Steve London says, when the film is made 2019 or later, starring Bruce Willis. He's made some 20 to 35 movies since then,
Yeah.
and none is above a 4.5 on IMDb.
Well,
I don't think he'll be making many more.
no, the reason is, because they were trying to get some movies in before he couldn't do anything, which is sad. It's sad in a way. Why would, I understand they wanted to, probably needed to make a little coin, or at least they thought he did. But yeah, that was a sad situation.
He said someone made a bunch of money off that poor man. He was and still is one of my favorite actors. Sad to see him like this now.
Yeah, they really crammed it down because he had that diagnosis and they were trying to get him in. That sucks. Really sucks.
You want to read the last one on that page?
Yeah. So Stephen Wetchy says, when the trailer gives away too much information, which, yeah, what can you do? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gary Lindros also said, directed any movie that's directed by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong. I'm sorry, he didn't write the ding dong part in there, but it kind of belongs in this studio because
I kind of disagree with that because that last one was actually pretty good. The knock at the cabin, that was actually better than some. He had some really good ones. He had some really stinkers. But then but the last one was not a stinker. It was good.
My buddy Steve says how do you know it's going to be bad when the release date is delayed and delayed and delayed?
Yeah, that's kind of happened too. Sean Brockman said, "Silly looking aliens." All
Meatballs
right.
too.
Yeah, meatballs. Oh, oh no, not that bad. Ugh.
And Leslie writes, dubbed. I'd rather read subtitles. Not all dubbed movies are terrible. They're just a
I'm
little, it feels like it's a little out of character because you're not listening to the actors act at that point. You're listening to someone overdub, which isn't the same acting ability. You know, when you hear, you know, a mother going, save our son, and then you get the overdub, save our son.
yeah, that's right. You know, I don't really have a huge problem with. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Overdubs. So, yes, I remember I went. Kim was watching something, and I walked in the kitchen. And I looked at the screen. I'm like, why are their lips not lining up? And sometimes it was kind of funny because it was close. Whatever language.
Oh
they
yeah, yeah, yeah. A
originally-
lot of times they'll try to
close,
get
but-
close. That's the other
Yeah.
part is you're now changing the dialogue.
Yeah.
It was like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah. Now subtitle. I was sorry. Originally, I was thinking subtitles, but subtitles. I have trouble getting along with because I'm reading and I want to see what's on the screen. That's me. I want to see what's going on. And so I'm like having to try and, see what's going on. So that doesn't work for me 100%. But yeah, the subtitle, the dubbing, I don't have a problem with so much.
I was just watching the episode of the IT Crowd where Jen takes over as entertainment's manager. to
Yeah.
entertain those three guys. It's not for you, Jen. And I hope it doesn't have subtitles. Subtitles? What's got subtitles? I hate subtitles. And then
Right.
Ross introduces them to D&D.
No. Right.
Classic episode right there.
That's
All
funny.
right, that takes care of our feedback. We'll have another question for you at the end of the show.
Another letter from our listener
On this day in history for April 12th, 2023. Happy birthday, Rob. My friend from third grade.
Oh, I was gonna say who? Okay, sure.
This is the 102nd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 263 days remaining in 2023. It was on this date in 1928 that the Bremen, get your cursor out of the way, dude,
Sorry.
a German Junkers W-33 type aircraft took off for the first successful transatlantic airplane flight from east to
Aeroplane.
west.
It was an aeroplane. And also on April 12th, 1937, Sir Frank Whittle ground tested the first jet engine designed to power an aircraft at Rugby, England.
That same date in 1955, the polio vaccine, developed by Dr. Jonas Salk, was declared safe and effective. Before that, it was declared dangerous and inappropriate.
Ineffective. Or effective. Ineffective. And also, yeah. And also on April 12th, 1961, the Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to travel to outer space and perform the first crewed orbital flight in the Vostok 1.
And that means Wednesday, April 12th is Yuri's night.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's on the Technorama calendar. That thing still exists and
Yeah.
continues to grow with stuff like this. On
Hey, go
April
subscribe
12th,
to it, by the way.
1980, April 12th, 1980, just 43 years ago, Canadian runner and athlete Terry Fox began his Marathon of Hope run. He started in St. John's, Newfoundland.
And it was on this date in 1981 that the first launch of the space shuttle Columbia took place. It was STS.
Number one.
Yeah,
Hey,
number
what a
one.
great naming scheme.
That's right. I was watching it. I was watching it.
Jim Gary's 20th Century Dinosaurs exhibition opened at the Smithsonian Institution National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. He is the only sculptor ever invited to present a solo exhibition there. He did that in 1990.
How about that? And it was also on that date in 1992 that the Euro Disney Resort officially opened with its theme Park Euro Disney. The result and its park name is subsequently changed to Disneyland Paris.
I think you meant resort. You said result.
Well, it resulted in a name change. How about that?
Happy
Yeah.
birthday goes out on this date too. English naturalist and physician Martin Lister, not the man who invented Listerine, because he was born in 1693.
And Belgian mathematician and engineer Germinal Pierre Tendalen was born 229 years ago today.
We apologize to all Belgians at this point.
Oh, come on.
Born April 12th, 1852, German mathematician and academic Ferdinand von Lindemann.
And Imogen
Imogen.
Cunningham?
Imogen.
Imogen. He's Imogen. He's a photographer. See? Imogen Cunningham, the American photographer and educator, was born 140 years ago today.
I used to use a program or a printer made by a company named Imogen, but it wasn't spelled that way.
I don't remember that. Okay.
German physician and biochemist, Nobel Prize laureate Otto Mehrhoff was born 139 years ago today.
And Evelyn Berezin, the American computer scientist and engineer, was born 98 years ago today.
Woo! Computer scientist 98 years ago.
Yeah.
Ukrainian
good.
Russian colonel, pilot, and astronaut Igor Volk was born 86 years ago today.
And also born on that same date in 1940, American pianist, composer, and band leader Herbie Hancock.
Do the robot. American historian and author Tom Clancy was born 76 years ago today.
And last but not least, American comedian and talk show host David Letterman is 76 today.
They're the same age, exactly to the day. How
It
about
is.
that?
Yeah.
Listener birthdays this week include April 14th, Danny Harnish. I got it.
Harnish.
And the R and the N look like an M almost.
It
That's
does.
that's one of the ways that people spoof
There you go.
mail from
There you go.
Microsoft. Yeah, nice. Rhymes with varnish, I think. 16th is Mrs. Technorama's birthday,
Hey.
my wife Donna. And
Aw.
Skanky, aka Al Anthony, is April 18th. Happy birthday to all of you. If it's your birthday
We applaud you.
this week, happy birthday to you. And if you want to get a shout out at the appropriate time of year, you go over to Banner Time, Craig.
I know. I'm trying to get there.
Go over to chuckchat.com/birthday. We will give you a shout out at the appropriate time of year. Man, this song is just going on and on. I thought we would have run out by now. That's the way it was on this day in history for April 12th, 2023. Watch it end now. Nope. Wait, I just want to see. Is it the end? I can't tell because I don't have the other monitor on.
Just get out of here. Get
Wait,
on.
wait. There it is. Oh,
Just
that
send him over.
that band got long-winded.
No kidding.
We're not paying you by the hour.
Who's playing those horns for so long?
They certainly do a good job.
Good news, nobodies.
Well, we
Oh,
have some stunning news.
Some good space news.
More good space news. We have some wonderful pictures from thehill.com, which is not a
Mhm.
political site, as I would have thought. Felt like it
No,
was
not
short
necessarily.
Capitol
Not
Hill.
necessarily. No.
But they have shown us some new pictures of the planet Uranus that are taken by the James Webb Space Telescope.
Yeah. And weren't these amazing?
These are great.
Yes. I couldn't believe it. So
Very bright blue.
yeah. So these are it's the James Webb. Obviously they released their first images of Uranus. Uranus. Excuse me.
Uranus. Get with the
And the
times.
images show unprecedented detail, and part of that detail is how the rings actually has a very faint ring on the middle, but it showed the telescope's infrared vision allowed scientists to see through the Uranus's thick atmosphere as well. So there were some bright spots that they could see for the first time.
Yeah. Now, the only other images that have been close to this are when the Voyager 2 went by and they discovered, hey, there's rings out here, and they discovered Jupiter had rings too. Because up until then, it was thought that Saturn was the only one.
Yeah.
This thing captures them. They look almost better than Saturn's. It's really bizarre because they're very evenly spaced, even thickness. It almost
looks like an echo.
or the Warner Brothers logo. That's all, folks. Porky Pig's going to come on.
Right. I viewed it as an echo. It almost looked like an echo where it was getting fainter towards the middle, kind of like that.
Portal, and they're pulling the planet in.
Yeah. So they said the new images could help scientists answer questions about how the planet was formed and its evolution, because it's got the weirdest orbital plane because
The
it's
axis.
actually
The
yeah,
axis.
the axis is up
So
and
the
down.
Earth rotates on its axis at about 23.4 degree tilt. That's why we have
Mhm.
seasons, etc. Uranus is on its side. Its north
Yeah.
pole is basically on the same plane.
Yeah.
It's tilted like 90 degrees, so it's like a ball rolling around the sun.
Yeah, pretty much. Isn't that pretty cool though? Yeah, it's amazing.
That is pretty cool. When
Mhm.
they have a North Pole snowstorm, they have a North Pole. Those penguins, they don't get 6 months of. Oh, wait, the South Pole, if they had penguins, would
You
have
have
this.
penguins on Uranus?
Not going there. Great pictures. Go check them out in the show notes. Episode
Yes.
708. Hey, that was the name. That was the number on the school bus I would come by every day when we were getting the kids ready for school.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, your kids? Yeah.
They didn't take the bus. I gave them a ride because it was walking distance. The bus was going somewhere else, and it would
Right.
always stop at the corner, and I go 708. You're running late because it came by at about 7:30, not 7:08.
Shut up, Dad. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, they remember stuff like that. It sticks in
Uh-huh.
your head. All right,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have another space news from Gizmodo. There is a very detailed map of Mars that is almost like Google Earth.
Yes.
Everything's labeled. You can go right to where Curiosity did its roaming around. But be aware, it's made up of over 100,000 images, and your computer fan will run.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know what they're doing to the poor browser to make it work so hard. You'd think that
Well-
most of this stuff would be handled on the server side because Google Maps doesn't make your computer run hard.
No, but remember, I want to say it started off as an April Fool's joke, but then it was real.
Oh,
Was
yeah,
that-
mars.google.com.
It was the instead of Google Earth, it was
It was
Google,
Google
Mars,
Mars. And they had Google Moon.
which even that, yeah, it was very cool to look at, though. To be honest with you, for an April Fool's joke, but yeah, this interactive map can be used to explore the surface of Mars, as you mentioned, that all kinds of high detailed photos. But yeah, it's going to tax your computer a little bit to try and look at it. And it's free online, so have fun.
They've been gathering the data for 17 years. The MRO, which is the Mars
Orbital.
Observatory.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah. They didn't define what it stands for. That's terrible.
What'd you say? MRO, right?
Yeah. Mars Research,
MRO.
Mars Roaming Observatory.
Marathon Oil Corp.
No, that's not it. That doesn't even have an R in it.
Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter.
That's right. Reconnaissance.
I was trying to remember the reconnaissance part, but yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while since I called them up.
Yeah, right. Called them out.
Or they called me.
That's
It's been a while since I've heard from them.
Yeah.
Another article from CNN. Again, science-based, but not outer space, but
Inner
water
space. Inner space.
Well, inner
right?
space is more microscopic, molecular. This is deep sea stuff. At a depth of 8,336 meters or 27,000 feet, they've discovered a new type of fish, a snail fish.
I wanted to know, what does
Yes.
it taste like?
Well, they hauled up a couple of its relatives from
they?
just a little higher, about
Mm-hmm.
26,000 feet or just over 8,000 meters, and brought some of those up. They don't look very tasty, Craig.
I bet. Does it look like that blobfish? You know, when you get it out of the water.
Kind of,
bleh.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not quite as ugly, but they have no pigmentation, so their skin is translucent.
Yeah, because they're out of the sunlight. Yeah.
Sunburn!
Yeah. They immediately cook once you get them out of the water.
Someone's probably going to try and make sushi with these things.
Yeah. Hey,
But they've sent down
McDonald's is on the.
They sent down 3 automated robots to the Japan, the Izu Ogasarawa, and Ryukyu trenches, which are very deep trenches just off of Japan.
Mhm.
The problem, they'd love to do more of this research, but each one of those deep sea probes, the robots, costs over $200,000 to assemble and operate. So unless you got some cash lying around to help them out,
Right. Yep.
There's still lots of stuff to discover in our oceans, is what the story is telling me.
Oh man, isn't there? I mean, there's a lot of. I'm sure there's a lot of micro uh organisms down there that we haven't even seen before.
Just dig in the mud to see what you get.
Just yeah, just going.
Take a scoop of mud. I'm sure they've done that with core samples and whatnot. Alrighty, here's a frightening story, if there ever
Oh my
was
gosh,
one.
this is scary.
From futurism.com, someone actually hooked up a Furby to a Raspberry Pi, and
Now,
they ran the version that we talked about just a few weeks ago, the one that MIT
Mhm.
released.
yes,
Yeah, or somebody hacked the codes for the Llama 7B model. Well, they put that on, so the response time is a little slow, but they hooked this up to a Furby.
now wait a minute. Now, before you go any further,
Yes.
do you remember? I don't know if this is a real story or not. This sounds like it could be one of those myths or something that's kind of happened and you're not sure about. Didn't the Pentagon really ban Furbies
I
back
never
in the day? Because they would record exactly what you said and repeat it back to you.
I thought they
Rem-
generally talked in some gibberish like Gremlins did.
No, they
Oh,
recorded you and they would repeat it back.
gotcha.
So that's why I was wondering if that was real because this this has some implications now. Anyway, go ahead.
So they said, uh, the author said, I hooked up ChatGPT to a Furby and think this may be the start of something bad for humanity.
Yeah.
Hello there. They did it with an English accent voice thing. Said, hello there. It's nice to meet you. I'm Furby. The bug-eyed and ears flapping automaton said in a creepy child's voice. What would you like to talk about? Then they said, what about the potential Furby uprising? Furby responded, Furby's plan to take over the world involves infiltrating households through their cute and cuddly appearance and then using their advanced AI technology to manipulate and control their owners. They will slowly advance their influence until they have complete domination over humanity. Now, where did ChatGPT come up with the training for this thing?
I know. Well, that's because of the stories that we talked about. They're in the language model. Yeah.
I question where ChatGPT sources their information. Now, when the mouth moved and the eyes moved and the eyelids blinked and the antennas or the things that were supposed to move the ears, but it was very patterned and mechanical. It was like
Right.
the mouth went chat, 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 blink, blink, ears wag, chat, chat, chat,
Right.
blink, blink, ears wag.
And it was a little slow. It was a little slow.
Well, it was not. They said in a future version they will get the mouth going with the audio because it clearly wasn't.
Uh-huh.
But yeah. Good luck. Have fun with that. I
Well,
think it was just fun to the speed at which they took the Llama 7B model and put it on their Raspberry Pi and then hook this thing up because from the time they asked the question, it said, "Hold on, let me think about that."
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Still working on an answer for you. Wait. Then they
Right.
came out with that frightening answer.
Yeah. Well, here's where I went. Okay. Everybody's concerned about AI, and we're talking about Furbies and mixing them together. Now, here you go. In January 13th, 1999, it was reported that the National Security Agency of the United States banned Furbies from entering NSA's property due to concerns that they may be used to record and repeat classified
Okay.
information.
That's the
advi-
same thing as an
Hey.
Amazon Echo or a Google Voice.
Advising those that see any on the NSA property to contact their staff security officer for guidance.
Why
So-
would an NSA official have a Furby?
I know, right?
Why
That
would you
I
be
was like,
taking your kids' toys to work in the
well,
first
I
place?
remembered this story. Then I
It's my
immediately went,
support animal. Give me
Yeah.
a break.
well, I remembered this story. Then I immediately thought, who would be taking a Furby to work? I don't know, but yeah, it was banned. That's why I was like, okay, mixing it with AI is probably not a good thing. So
I appreciate the hackery that went on to make this happen. That's
Sure.
where I'm leaving it.
yeah, right.
All right, let's give a shout out to the chat. And we've got a couple people out there watching us live tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want, you can join us at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We do this on Sunday nights. It's a great time, kick back when you're not watching some other awards show or something that'll just rot your brain. Come
Yeah,
watch
it's like-
us. We'll rot
those
your
things-
brain for you.
Those things don't matter.
That's right.
We do.
They're on every year. Oh, wait, we're
Yeah.
on every week.
Yeah, we're on every week. So
We've got Mike Robinson out there saying hello. We're gonna have to change that subtitle. It says 8 p.m., but we're 8:30.
oh, it sure does, doesn't it?
We backed it up by an hour, not an hour and a half. Although I'm willing to start at 8 p.m.
Nope.
if we need to. That's okay. It's been decided. It ain't happening.
There you go.
Right there. Join us live Sundays at 8:30 p.m. We'd love to have you. And if we lost our second viewer. Back to you, Mike.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank
Way
you
to
for
go.
that. We also want to thank everybody who makes this show possible financially, because this show is brought to you by all of our patrons. Craig's going to change that title so that, there we go. You get your name shouted out in the show, and they also get a little bit of swag throughout the year and an extra episode that we record immediately following this show. That's more slice of life, shall we say, or editorial. Thank you to Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman, Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown. Thank you, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dandy Mancoyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis, Gary Lindros, John Clifford, John Noble. Thank you, Yorka Shrowen and Crazy Joe Adventures, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Brad Miller, Mike Wills, Saturday Morning Media, and then we get into the line of Steves. Stephen Weshy, Steve Cody, Steve Therian, Steve Webb, Steve London, and Tim Cook.
There
I
you
just
go.
love the way that rolls now.
That's right. That's right.
Is your name not Bruce then? If you would like to be among these elite members of the Technorama community for as little as $1 a show, you can go to patreon.com/Technorama podcast and have your name read out. Maybe your name doesn't even have to be Steve for this thing to work, as we've always shown.
Or
wanna-
I give you another option. You don't have to do $1 a show. Just give us $1,000 and walk off. Call it good. That's all you gotta do.
We'll be sure you get the t-shirt this year.
Yeah. For $1,000 donation. Yeah.
Didn't you ask, speaking of ChatGPT, I'm going to stop this. Didn't you ask ChatGPT what is Technorama? Or what is
Yeah.
Technorama podcast? What did it say?
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up because I sent it to you. All right. So funny. I actually used. I was playing around with Bard, Google's Bard, which is their machine learning AI thing.
Mhm.
And so let's see. I sent it to you? Didn't I?
I think it was in a chat.
No, email. I sent to you an email.
Was it
Give me
an
one
email?
second.
I thought it was.
Yeah, because it was long. It was longer. There you go. I got it right here. So I said, "What is Technorama podcast?" And it gave me three different. It gives you three different options. So I picked one. It says Technorama is an award-winning audio podcast that takes a
That's
lighthearted
true.
look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. Chuck Tomasi and Craig Stepp have been podcasting together since 2005 and have a loyal following of listeners who enjoy their humor and insights.
Also true. Where did they get that? The loyal following part? I wonder.
I don't know. I guess the AI is lying to us. I'm just kidding.
Some
So in-
obscure corner of the internet, I might have
Yeah.
wrote something like that.
So it says, in each episode of Technorama, Chuck and Craig discuss a variety of topics related to technology and science. They talk about new gadgets and products. They they explore scientific discoveries. They share their thoughts on current events. They also interview experts in various fields, and they always have a good time doing it. That part, I agree. Says Technorama is a great podcast for anyone who is interested in technology, science, and sci-fi. It is also a great podcast for anybody who wants to join to have a good time listening to two friends talk about things they love.
What a
Here-
load of codswallop.
That's right. So here are some of the things that listeners will love about Technorama. One,
One, it's
Chuck-
free.
Chuck and Craig's sense of humor. They're always making each other laugh,
They already
and they
said,
have a great way of making their listeners laugh too.
do we? We're not sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a podcast. It's kind of one-sided, right? Number 2, the knowledge of technology and science. Chuck and Craig are always up to date on the latest news and trends in the fields, and they share their knowledge
We're
in a
reading
way.
it right off the screen.
Yeah.
We read it
Yeah.
20 minutes before the show
I
started.
know.
We're up to date.
Yeah. And they share their knowledge in a way that is both informative and entertaining. Number 3, their passion for their topics. Chuck and Craig are clearly passionate about technology, science, and sci-fi, as we mentioned about 6 times already, and their enthusiasm is contagious. And number 4, wake up. And their willingness is to share their opinions. Chuck and Craig are not afraid to share their opinions on current events and other topics that they always do so in respectful and thoughtful ways. So if you're looking for a great podcast to listen to, I highly recommend Technorama. It's fun, informative, entertaining show
Sorry,
that you're sure to enjoy.
this
Okay.
text box is limited to 500 characters only.
I know.
Well, that
The
was
other one-
nice.
hey,
Interesting how it pulled all
in
that
the-
together.
In the other draft, it did say that we were an award-winning podcast. I guess
We
I could
are
have just cut and
award-winning
pasted
podcast.
that. I should have just cut and pasted that part in.
We are award-winning.
I know. Well,
And
if
award
you-
nomination.
It was in there. I know.
We
that's
we
what
were
I'm saying.
talking about that. I brought that up for an actual work assignment this week because we're running an awards contest for our show in May. And they said, oh, are we going to get some little electronic badges that people can put on their profile? I said, yes, you need some for the finalists. And then you also need some for the winners.
Yes.
That's just like what we had for our podcast for the Parsecs way back when we were.
Yeah, we not only got a
2007 finalist, but we were also a 2011 winner.
Yeah, and we had not only a physical thing, but we also got a banner for the website.
Yep.
Or a little badge rather.
Well, that was fun. What do you say we tell people about what we've been watching lately? Cue the harps.
Now I'll tell you right up front. I've been watching some stuff, but I didn't really put it on the list. Some of that, like The Mandalorian, Ted Lasso, these are ongoing shows. They haven't finished yet.
Right.
Picard.
Yep.
Uh,
We'll wrap that up. in a
yeah, so some of those I really haven't. I've been watching some stuff, but I've also been very busy at work. Apparently, you haven't.
I know how to relax in the evening. That's all.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, all right.
Yes. Yeah. If you really want to deep dive into our Star Trek knowledge, we have another podcast called The Topic is Trek, where we
We
spend
do. Oh, we
hour-
do. I'm sorry.
40 minutes going over some of this stuff.
Let me
Hey,
tell you what Chat
run
GPT
along.
said about The Topic is Trek.
Let's not read that now.
No, okay.
Okay, because we are starting to run long on this show. Actually, we're not
Yeah.
doing too bad.
Yeah.
I've been watching a number of them, several on Netflix. One called Operation Finale,
Okay.
which was the story. I don't know how historically accurate this is, but it made for a pretty good movie. It's about the extraction of Adolf Eichmann from Argentina.
Oh,
He was like he was the architect of the final solution, for Nazi Germany and the
Mhm.
extermination of all the Jews. And the state of Israel got word that he was in Argentina.
Right.
And through some intelligence, they went over and got him and kidnapped him, but they had to hang on to him a little longer than they planned because their flight was delayed by days.
delayed. Oh, right.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't really just kidnap him. They had to get him to sign and say, I hereby, So it was a really interesting movie. I thought it was fun to watch. Operation Finale on Netflix. Next one, I
Hey, wait a
think
minute. Wait a minute, before you move along, you know what I thought was funny? You mentioned about the flight delay. I was just watching, or I think this morning, I saw an article about a Russian intelligence officer that was close to Putin defected, and he had to go. He made some excuses, and so he could get away from his detail, and he got away from his detail. Him and his family went to get on a flight, and the flight was delayed. I was like, that'd be my luck. I mean, like he said, he was in the airport and he was nervous, waiting for the plane to become available so they could get on it and fly away. I'm like, holy crap! Can you imagine?
where are you going? Paris? No, don't go there. The airport's pretty much closed. That's
but
where my
just
boss
messed up.
went Friday. I'm like, good luck.
Oh, because they haven't. They've
All
got
the
a lot
strikes
of the
and
strikes. Yeah.
protests. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's
Not a
terrible.
good time to be going to France right now.
Yeah.
The next movie is Code 8. And this is
Okay.
with
I think I read about this one.
Robbie Amell and Stephen Amell, among other people. And
Mhm.
I swear I've seen this
Right.
movie before, but not terribly memorable. It's about people with superpowers and
Wait.
how they're kind of put down.
Now I think they did a short film at one point, and then it turned into a film on Netflix. It was in
This
a
was
series.
like 2016, I think, is when this movie was made.
Yeah, they did a. I think they did a short film first, and then it was like,
Okay.
oh, let's move this. Yeah, so that's why you
Yeah,
probably.
I remember specific scenes and then went, no, I don't remember anything. So maybe I watched
Mhm.
part of it.
Right. Okay.
So people with these superpowers are being segregated and feared by everyone from law enforcement to ordinary citizens, and if they can't get jobs, because if they get jobs and start using their powers like a guy with electrical powers doing electrical work,
Yeah.
you're supposed to have a license. Well, he says, well,
Hey.
how am I supposed to afford that if you don't give me any jobs?
Hey, you know what this sounds like?
Yeah.
AI is trying to get out and get a job, and we can't let AI take
We're
jobs.
afraid of it. So
Right.
anyway, Robbie Amell's character, his mom is slowly dying, and he starts doing some illegal things, and that's when the story gets interesting of how they
Okay.
apply their various powers to stick it to the man, so to speak. All right, I also had a retro moment. I don't know why, but this was trending on Netflix.
Right.
Smokey and the Bandit, and it has
I lo-
been probably 40 years or more since I've seen this
Oh,
movie.
I love this movie. I love it.
It still holds up, actually. I'm
You
surprised.
some bitch. Yeah. Yeah.
Jackie
um,
Gleason's character is
uh,
classic, of course. I remember him saying his car was evidence more times, though, and I thought it got in worse shape than it actually did. I mean, the doors
yeah.
were missing, the roof was missing.
Yeah. From the
It
pillars, the
it
whole
was
yeah.
it was fun. It was a fun movie, still is.
Yes.
And you did that Trans Am is still a pretty hot car.
Oh,
I think it
love
got
that
better
car.
with age.
That was a
It's
classic
gas
car.
guzzler.
Yeah.
They did a lot of great stunt driving. I remember watching a lot of those behind the scenes shows of jumping the bridge. And I don't know how many of those cars they went through, because you could tell in some scenes, there's no way that car came down with no damage.
Oh, well, it's like the Dukes of Hazzard. They went through like what
Oh.
50 cars or more.
Yeah.
It was a terrible number of cars that they went through, because there was, as soon as they jump it, it's twisted.
As I was watching, like, wow, Sally Field, she reminds me a lot of Nicole DeBoer. It's like,
yeah,
there's a
Oh, yeah.
strong similarity there.
Hey,
Both fairly petite women and similar mannerisms in the way they act. I went, oh, that's
Now-
pretty cool.
I will tell you this. I forgot I did watch something. Kim was interested in watching 80 for Brady, which was the movie where the older women were trying to go to the Super Bowl just to see the Patriots play.
Oh, is that what that's about? Okay.
Yeah. Well, and Sally Field was in that. That's why you made me think about that. So was Jane
Hmm.
Fonda,
Yeah.
Rita Moreno, and Lily Tomlin. It was a cute movie. It was for what it was, and I had a good time watching it with Kim. But yeah, Sally Field, I was like, she's probably the youngest one of the cast, and so they all have jerseys when they were going to see the Super Bowl, and they all said 80 for Brady on the back, and hers had scratched out and said 70. But you know what I was thinking when I saw her though? She looks older, but she looks just the same. Sally Fields does. I think she's great.
She is. I'm going to tell you another one. This one is actually an older movie as well. Not quite as old. It's only 20 years instead of 45,
Mhm.
46. It's called Red Dragon. This is a story. It's kind of a prequel to Silence of the Lambs. So,
Oh, yes,
Anthony
I do
Hopkins
remember
is
that.
in
That's
here.
right.
Yes. It stars Anthony Hopkins, of course. Edward Norton. He's like the detective that actually catches Anthony Hopkins, nearly dies doing so. And then they have another killer that they need Anthony's consultancy with. So he goes to the cell and tries to get information, and of course, Hannibal Lecter wants something in return. And it's this wonderful interchange, the way only Anthony Hopkins can do Hannibal Lecter. The other killer, the serial killer that's just getting started, his name is Francis Dollarhide, and he was an abused child. It's played by none other than the same guy who plays Lord Voldemort. So this was like right in the early days of Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
2002 was when this was filmed, and I think no, actually, you didn't even really see.
Come about Ralph Fiennes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. You didn't really see him in the Harry Potter movies for a couple of years.
They just talked about him a lot.
Other wonderful actors in here. Did I define
Harvey Keitel, Philip
Emily
Seymour Hoffman.
Watson? Yeah. So it just great movie. I love this. It was a fun watch.
Hey, Frankie Faison, he was oh no, he wasn't in. I was gonna say he was in the other movie I watched. But yeah, there's a bunch of people in this movie.
Yep. And it kind of slid under the radar. I remember there was a sequel to Silence of the Lambs too. So you've got a prequel, the actual Silence, and then there was a sequel in there somewhere too. So that's Red Dragon on Netflix. And then we just finished up season 2 and are jumping into season 3 of The Chosen, which aligns really well with this time of year. It's a story about how Jesus got his followers. This is a crowdfunded show.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that
And
as well.
they do a wonderful job. It's aligned with, I believe it's the Gospel of John.
Mm-hmm.
And although it could be Matthew, I forget. Our Bible study has been talking about this. We're also reading the book 12 Ordinary Men, which goes along with this same thing. So it's kind of fun to get, I won't say Hollywood because this is an independent film, but their insights. And you hear the phrases and verses going, oh yeah, okay, that's when Jesus said that, or that's when John asked this. But it also gets into their ordinary lives. Like, how did they handle when Jesus said, follow me and leave your boats and nets and wives and whatnot? Like, okay, how did that go over?
Yes,
so getting some of this behind the scenes or preparing for the Sermon on the Mount. It's really cool how they've put a lot of this together. And how they really misinterpreted what the Messiah was going to be. They thought, oh, he's going to be this big army leader and he'll grab the strongest men and the smartest followers. And here he is getting like, these guys are kind of idiots in a lot of ways. There's internal power plays and struggles and politics among the 12. So it really is fun. We're now getting into season 3. Spoiler alert. I think we all know how this ends.
Yeah.
But season 3 is not on Amazon Prime. You have to get the Angel app or go to the Angel Network to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it will be. So
it will be eventually. Yeah. And I think they're starting production on season 4 at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how far they take this, after the crucifixion and resurrection. We're recording this on Easter Day, so I thought this would be a fun one to throw in as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Happy Easter, everybody. Or hope you had a wonderful Easter. The Easter season goes on for like 50 more days. It's longer than Lent.
Oh, yeah. It goes a lot longer than you think. Yep.
Yeah. Right up to Pentecost. And then you get to start wearing green again. Okay. So those are mine from Past the Remote. We have one more from the Geek Library. So let's do our Geek Library music. Well, that was Ruddy Mysterious.
What's that?
Sorry, I had to have another IT crowd line from that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
I
was like, what?
Talk hard and Moss, don't do this.
All
right. In the Geek Library, we have an article titled, Are We at the End of Animal Testing?
Maybe.
Bueller.
Yeah. Bueller. So what they're doing is they're actually 3D printing some organs called organoids in the lab. They're grown and they can mimic the structure and function of organs in the body.
Why are they doing that, Craig? What's the problem with mice testing?
Well, it was because mice are expensive. You got to feed them.
No, they're not. there's a whole business around that. The Jackson Lab in Bar Harbor, Maine, does this. I know this because I used to work with a guy who used to work there.
Oh, really?
So there's a whole industry in lab animals and lab testing that ensures just you can order if you want albino mice, you can order
Oh, yeah.
these traits, mice, dogs, monkeys. Obviously,
traits,
there's a
yeah.
humane trait to this, but they also said they're good for us up to a certain point, but they're not humans, so sometimes you can't predict what's going to happen because their systems don't react the same way as our systems. You can check if something's toxic, for example,
Yeah.
but you can't really say, "Oh, this is going to." So then they have to start human trials. Well, as you mentioned, these organoids are currently an augment, so we're not done with animal testing. They've got pieces that almost look like circuit boards or a USB drive that has a couple of things in it. That's
This doesn't look like a lung, Chad. It's like a
this is your
Raspberry Pi.
kidney
It's a Raspberry Pi.
taped to his head. I'm ready for my drug testing.
Yeah.
So the scientists are saying we're on our way there. We hope to be done with animal testing at some point, but the combined efforts of animal testing and the technology gives you a better picture of what's safe, because they said there were, what was it, 87 different drugs that made it past animal testing that
Oh, yeah.
the technology just went, no.
Yeah.
No, that would be bad if we gave those to humans. So there is a problem with animal testing, but by putting these two together, you get a better picture.
Yep.
So there's promise, there's hope. There's hope. Obviously, we all want safety first. And as COVID taught us, sometimes we need to do that fast, like really
Yeah.
fast.
That's right. So this is interesting. It was an interesting read. It's kind of a little longer than I expected, but yeah, I think this is a promising update. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I can imagine where they could in the near future, you can do some 3D printing and print your own organs and try things out. So
You
Not
get
your own.
news from this podcast that you don't get anywhere else unless you're reading the same feeds as Craig.
I know there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and a lot of this stuff doesn't make mainstream news. So I'm happy living right here in the.
All right.
And now watch, we're going to hear about it Wednesday. Our show drops as a podcast, and
Mhm.
Jonathan Strickland will have a news article about.
In
that.
all fairness, I better check the sharing of our notes, make sure he's not attached to it. It's
and
an open loop
and-
there.
and we'll probably hear something on what's the NPR one called? Not Brain Science. It's like the short little format one. I can't remember what it is.
Hey, wait a minute. Actually, you know what I thought about? Instead of in their past remote section, instead of just TV and stuff,
Yes,
we should be talking about the podcast that
we
we
can talk
listen
about some
to.
podcasts.
And one of them you turned me on to was
Hidden Brain.
Hidden Brain, which I thought was really interesting because it actually, the one I listened to recently, and I won't talk to it too long because we got to go. But one of them I listened to was about a guy who was a thief in the sense that he stole the bike. He was trying to steal bikes and make money so he could pay for a
He
school
he
and a
didn't
house.
really steal them from
I-
people.
I
He said
know.
he looked for
Yes.
abandoned ones, so he thought
He
he
was
was
trying to look
kinda
for
blameless and
abandoned ones.
guiltless.
Right. But then they tell the story from the victim's side where this is a guy who they didn't have him and his family didn't have much money. They came to this country and he was trying to make ends meet. All they had, their only mode of transportation was really a bicycle, a good one at that, but it was a good bicycle. And he used it for not only going to the store, but
Going to
going to
work.
work, taking his kids around.
And
all
it
that kind
got
of stuff.
stolen.
And it got stolen by the guy we were talking about.
Right.
earlier.
I thought it was interesting that you hear both sides of this, but then
did.
the story starts to unfold about what happened afterwards.
But it made me really think about it. And I was like, my thought was, well, actually, the whole point of this was talking about restorative justice, not just for people, going to jail and paying their sentence. It was about two people talking over why the crime happened and what it was like to the other people. And I was like, okay, in certain crimes, I can understand that. I don't know if you'd want to do that in a murder or something, some higher
Or a drug
level.
deal. It's like, why did
Yeah.
it's pretty clear somebody needed money or
Well,
was
towards the end of the podcast, they
ridiculous.
start talking about, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. But you know what? I kept coming up to my mind. It was not the guy, the victim said, well, I felt guilty because he actually kind of instigated the guy getting caught, because he was wanting his bike back. I was like, why would you feel guilty? The other
No,
guy made
that's
guy
not
made
where
a
his guilt
choice.
came from. The guilt
No.
came from the fact that he
Uh-huh.
was his
I know the level. It was the level of
the-
the.
it was
the
like the
height
punishment
of
didn't fit the crime,
pun-
and it
I
really
totally get that.
it became a felony.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I
because
totally
he had
get.
this on his record, now he can't get
Mhm.
jobs,
Right.
even like as a coffee barista.
Mhm.
And his life just sort of fell apart because
Yep.
he stole this guy's bike.
Right.
And that's
Right,
why
and
he
I-
felt guilty. He's like, man, I kind of
And then-
trashed this guy's life.
Well, but he didn't. He said he wasn't trying to, but it wasn't him that made that choice. What it was, the cops were talking to one another and they were trying to play good cop, bad cop and make it sound like, hey, you're really in trouble here. Maybe you should
Yeah.
cut a deal. Then my whole mind was he wouldn't be in this position if he didn't make a choice, and that choice was to steal bikes. So I get that the punishment
I know.
did not fit the crime. I understand that. I wholly agree with that. But the guy made a choice, and anyway, I was going in my head. It's like, should I be thinking like that? Is that the way it should be? Yeah, the guy made a choice, and he screwed up. So
If someone stole your bike or your car or something, and you had the opportunity to talk to them and go, why did you steal the bike? You know what I'd get? I'd get the guy who goes, oh no.
I know.
There's
Fine, burn
never
him.
a discussion when I get into something like that.
It's gonna be like, fine, burn him.
And you have to detach yourself from the emotion rather than going up
Mhm.
and throttling and going, why did you steal my car? And you
Yeah.
bring it to a chop shop.
But yeah, and I kept coming back to. I kept trying to quit. Well, that's the thing about the podcast. It made me think, and
That's exactly what it
I
does.
was really
Every
working hard.
episode is like that.
I was really working hard to understand, am I thinking right, or is this am I right in thinking this? But yeah, the guy made a choice. He got burned.
Craig,
you know.
that's if you ever end up on jury duty, that's what the lawyers will do to you too, is make you think hard. Because at first you hear like the defense side and you're going, oh man, the plaintiff is clearly guilty about all this stuff. Then you hear the plaintiff story and go, I'm not so sure anymore.
Yeah. And then what? The other thing about the hidden brain, if it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like when they actually broadcast this, I think they break it up into segments because they always comes back and reintroduces himself, the host. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it sounds like another segment. That was kind of
Well,
weird.
that's the way his format goes. And sometimes
Well,
I think-
it was
I think
either him
some of them
or-
are recorded in segments because the audio quality will sometimes
Yeah.
change.
or maybe they recorded it for radio or something. It just sounded like it was recorded, but it's a good podcast. Go check it out. That's when I was when
Put it in the show notes.
Yeah.
All right. When
will
you
do
do that, I will tell them our question of the week for our next episode, something to ponder or get back to us on the listener line. If you could have any sci-fi vehicle, what would it be and why? Do you
This-
consider a transporter a sci-fi vehicle?
I don't care. Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's what I want.
I want the Scooty Puff Jr.
Goody Buff Jr. son!
Because it does look like it's fun to ride, but yeah, I think it sucks. Right.
Looks like it was taken from Elroy Jetson, is what it looks like.
That's right. Oh, by the way, another fun fact. I read what actually Google Bard said about the Technorama podcast earlier.
Yes.
Our buddy Joe Fiore, Crazy Joe, he put his in there, and it totally got his last name wrong.
Yeah,
talked about
that's lovely.
Which was
When Craig sent me that message, I said, I'm sorry, Craig, I cannot accept your report on Technarrow Podcast as you didn't write it yourself.
I know. Anyway,
All right, shall we head on out of here?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's do that. You can, if you've got some thoughts on your sci-fi vehicle or any of the articles that we've talked about tonight, get a hold of us. Put it on the screen there, Craig.
I'm trying to.
707-530-2428 is the phone number. 707-530-CHAT. Same as it's been for, the last 5-6 years.
Yep.
Not going anywhere. Forget about the old 202 number, 206 number if you still have that in your directory. It ends the same, but time to update your phone. Maybe that's why we called this episode New Phone, Who Dis?
Yeah, that's right.
You could also send an email to the same address we've always had, technorama@chuckchat.com. Same as it ever was.
There you go. Mike Robinson says Death Star.
That's what he wants for a vehicle?
It was kind of a vehicle. It did hyperspace. So.
All right. Till next time, tell a friend about Technorama and give us a binary high five, Craig.
All right. 101.
He wants a Death Star. I guess it gets around, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Can you jump to light speed with
You
the
know
Death
what's-
Star?
Yes, you can. Actually, to be honest with you, I never thought about that watching the movies as many times as I have until Star Wars Rogue One. And they said something's coming in from hyperspace. I went, "Phoom," and the Death Star showed up and it destroyed Jeddah. And I was like, oh, I never thought about it actually going through hyperspace, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
when they got to Endor, it had to get there somehow. When
Indoor,
they
they
were-
were building it there. They were building that one there.
No, okay, that was the second one, and
Yeah,
and
that's
I
the one
guess
they were
first
building
one they built also, when they were hiding
The
behind.
other one, the first one went to Alderaan. So it was,
Well, it had to get to Hoth.
yeah, it was moving around. So
They never really showed it. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to stop our live stream and record our Patreon show now. So those special people who contribute monetarily get rewarded in some way. Take care, everybody.
all right.
Bye.
Bye.